समा जा, कीते सी कौन दाता आके निभा जा, आके निभा जा। भूला जा भूला मेरी दिल च समा जा, दिल च समा जा। खुले हैं सारे रास्ते तेरे वास्ते, मेरे सतगुरु प्यारे। कट लावांगे सारे दुख देख तेरे सहारे। सावन दातू लाल जी की पाल जी, सारे जगदातू हाली। आए तेरे दरबार जी, झोली भर देह खाली। चंदा बिराना के बदला चलूक गया, बदला चलूक गया। मेरी आँखियाँ ना पानी भी सूख गया।
Hello everyone. Hi, welcome to today's satsang. So today's song is by Stephanie, title Follow the Sun. Then we have introduction by Michael. Then Prempal ji is going to talk about the topic mind. Then we have a short dhyan session. Then we'll listen to Puri ji's talk, YouTube video, and then we'll do group meditation with love and devotion. So thank you so much. We'll begin with the song now. Thank you.
Follow the sun, and which way the wind blows when this day is done. Breathe, breathe in the air, set your intention, dream with care. Tomorrow's a new day for everyone, a brand new moon, brand new sun. So follow directions of the birds, the direction of love. Breathe, breathe in the air, cherish this moment, cherish this breath. Tomorrow's a new day for everyone. Brand new moon, brand new sun. When you feel love coming down on you like a heavy wave, when you feel this crazy society heading to the strand, take a stroll to the nearest waters and remember his name. Many moons have risen and falling long, long before you've came. So which way's the wind blown? And what does your heart say? So follow, follow the sun, and which way the wind blows when this day is done.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to satsang. Um, so nice to have all of you here. Stephanie, thank you for the beautiful song. I loved it. Thank you so much for your seva. And my dear holy family, here we gather again in another day in the name of our perfect master, Ishwar Puri Ji, where we gather to imbibe his energy, to get his grace, to think of the Lord, and to grow one step further towards our true home, God and the kingdom of God. Today, my brother Prempal is talking about the mind, and I was going to also read to you from the book of Kabir about the mind. And today's satsang is mind. It's all about the mind, which is our first enemy towards God and the kingdom of God. It is what stops between us and God. And our mind is always having thoughts. Ishwar Puri Ji says that it is like a heartbeat. It keeps thinking, 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 thinking. And mind and the senses are friends. They are one with each other, and the mind follows the senses. The mind follows the enjoyments and gets its pleasure from the senses. And this is the whole story of the mind and how it keeps taking us towards the other direction. That its pleasure is to think about anything that does not have to do with God and the kingdom of God. It likes, and it's not stable. It's always changing. Sometimes it's devoted and wants to do the devotion of God, and then all of a sudden it changes, and then it wants to do the devotion of Maya. It wants to run after the pleasures of this world. So we have this foe inside of us, and how to control it, how to conquer it, how to befriend it. That the saints say that we are to befriend this foe, and just make it work for us towards our goal of meditation. So God gave us when we got initiated with the perfect master, he gave us the 5 names. So whenever the mind starts to go here and there, we have a willpower. It's in our willpower to just redirect it to Simran, redirect it to the Dayan of the master, and redirected towards thinking about Seva, Shabd, and the books of the masters, the words of the masters, and the holy path. This is like in our free will. So whenever the mind starts to go the other way, we can start doing Simran. Sometimes the mind, as Ishwar Puri Ji, has more than one levels of thinking, which at some point I realize myself, I'm doing Simran on one side, but then my mind is thinking about worldly things on another level. Ishwar Puri Ji says that there's like 8 levels of the mind. If you watch closely, there's 8 levels of the mind. So it's a big, big power. It's a big, big power, and it gets that power from our soul. That the most important thing is the attention, where the attention goes. The attention. It gets so if we put our attention on worldly stuff, the mind becomes more powerful. If we put our attention on master, soul, and God, and Shabd and meditation, then the soul gets more powerful. So it's a game between the mind and the soul. And Kabir says that the mind, I'm going to read to you, the mind is like a thief with no head, that it really, we don't know that it exists. Like we don't know how the wealth is being stolen if we are not very, very careful. That at some points it comes to us in the form of friends, in the form of family members who are not connected to God. And then in this way we are relaxed. We are relaxed in those company of friends. And then what happens? Then the mind can beat us very fast because we have no defense, because we have trusted those people, and then it just attacks us. That this is how it attacks. It attacks in a very stealthy, cunning way, in a very, very stealthy, cunning way, using our weaknesses. So that's why we have to always be careful. We have to always be careful. And just, I think the best way is to just beg, Master, please control my mind. Please control my life. Please don't make me forget you. May I remember you each moment of my life. That we have to start the day with this prayer and continue on. And every time we notice our mind going into the dirty drain, we just pick it back with Simran. And then, of course, there is the diary for people who want to keep the diary. And it's really helpful. But to reconnect the mind with God through Simran, Shabd, and even as I told you, that the mind has many levels of thinking, and sometimes we are doing Simran at one level, and on another level, it's thinking of the world. You can block that by doing Simran, and then also while doing Simran, thinking of Master. Put one level Simran, another level the image of the Master, the Dayan of the Master, or the memory that you have had with your perfect Master. That really helps, I found, for me. That since the mind is many levels, I can put one level on Simran, the other level I can put on the image of the Master. And that really, really, really helps me personally in my spiritual progress when I use these two techniques, that one level Simran, one level thinking of Master, another level also thinking of Seva for the mission of God, for the mission of the Master. So we can get our mind engaged on many levels to just try to keep it controlled. One is Simran, one is the image of the Master, memories of being with the Master. One is thinking about Seva, how to serve Master, thinking about the spiritual diary, saying sorry for the thoughts that take us away from God. All these things are like helping factors and can put different levels of the mind thinking at auto thinking at different levels. Just like there is an autopilot for driving, then we can put one auto level of the mind on Simran, one auto level on thinking of Master, thinking of Seva, one on the image of the Master, and so forth. You can put more levels and make them into auto drive and let them work. It really helps. So today I wanted to read to you from the book of Saint Kabir about the mind. So let's see. Kabir, the weaver of God's name. Sorry, one second. Where is that start? Okay, so it says, the thief without a head. Although the Lord is within the human body and the path is within, and the Master is ever present to guide and help the devotee, it is not easy to attain the goal. There are obstacles in the way, lures and attractions in the outer as well as in the inner worlds. to entice the devotee and prevent him from progressing on the spiritual path. The biggest obstacle, perhaps the only obstacle, is the mind. Kabir calls it a thief because it steals the spiritual wealth of the devotee through its mighty companions: lust, anger, attachment, greed, jealousy, hate, and above all, the ego, who prevails upon man to dissipate the precious opportunity of the human birth in vain pursuits. Kabir says, oops, 1 second. Kabir says, throughout the three worlds, the thief steals with great cunning and stealth and deprives the devotee of all their wealth. No one, O Kabir, recognizes the thief, for he goes about without a head. Oh, there is no physical foe in the world that man has not been able to subdue. He had tamed lions, elephants, and tigers, conquered forts, kingdoms, and nations, but he has not been able to vanquish his own mind. Kabir calls the mind a wild beast which has no horns, fangs, beak, or body. It's an enemy hard to identify, for it has neither head nor form nor shape. For ages, men have adopted various means to tame the mind: austerities, penances, fasts, renunciation, intricate yoga practices, denying the body food, water, and comforts, and have resorted to numerous ways to bully the mind into submission. But denying necessities and comforts to the body, torturing it in heat and cold, or subjecting it to a secluded life in a forest or cave, cannot overcome the mind. Kabir says that by beating a snake hole, one cannot kill the snake. These practices affect only the body, not the mind. If the body is locked in a dark cell, only the body will be incarcerated, not the mind. The body may be at one place, but the mind can roam about in all directions, says Kabir. Mind is like a monkey. Not a moment does not a moment does it stay still. In order to control the mind, it is necessary for the seeker to know what mind is and what its characteristics are. Saints say that mind is matter. It is not spirit or soul. Its origin or source is Brahm, the region of universal mind, while that of soul is the Lord, in the region of everlasting bliss. Itself inert, mind draws power from the soul. An electric bulb has no light. It emits light through the energy of electric currents it receives from the powerhouse. In the case of mind, its connection with the soul has been made since the day of creation. Just as mind is dependent on soul, so also the soul can act and function in the physical world only through the mind. Kabir says that the devotee can only be free of the bondage of mind on reaching the state of, I don't know how to say that word, Unmani, Unmani, or the region of the universal mind, the realm of Brahm. When the devotee grasps the original source of mind, the mind becomes still. He who knows this secret will know what mind is. Let no one mind, let no one's mind delude and hinder him from realizing the truth. For only he who is attuned to the Lord will obtain true peace. One has to take the help of the mind, for only on controlling the mind will one attain perfection. Through mind, the mind can be controlled. Oh, I like that. Through mind, the mind can be controlled. There is none other like that, like the mind. This mind is energy. This mind is power. This mind is made of the five elements. He who takes his mind and fixes it in the region of Brahm, to him the mysteries of the three worlds are revealed. Guru Nanak makes the same observations about the mind. This mind performs actions. This mind undertakes religious rituals. This mind is born of the five elements. This mind is evil, covetous, and foolish. But when it practices Nam through the Gurumukh, it becomes beautiful. I like that. Although the mind is born of matter, imbibes the qualities of causal, astral, physical regions, and derives its energy from the soul, still it's a powerful entity. Involvement in the external world, love of pleasure, fondness of variety, and an insatiable hunger for the world and its objects are some of its main characteristics. Lust, anger, attachment, craving for sensual gratification, ego, and ceaseless wandering from place to place and object to object are some of its basic tendencies. Soul, a particle of the Supreme Being, immaculate and divine in its primal state, is a complete slave to the mind and its designs. In the physical world, mind also is not free. Urged by its fondness of sense pleasures, it has become a slave of the senses. In the words of Kabir, mind does not leave sense pleasures, and sense pleasures do not leave mind. Such is the nature and tendency of both. Thus, both mind and senses have eclipsed the soul. Guru Ravidas says, "What can I really know, O Lord? I am sold into the hands of mind and Maya. The fugitive mind runs in the four directions, and the five senses remain not steady. These senses together have spoiled my mind, and day after day they have erected barriers between me and the Lord divine. Mind is always changing. Sometimes it is inclined towards devotion, sometimes towards sense pleasures. Sometimes it is calm and restrained, sometimes angry and agitated. Kabir says that mind becomes thick and heavy, mind becomes thin and fine, mind becomes cool as water, mind becomes a blazing fire. Whatever impulse arises in the mind, the same form it adopts. In a moment, mind becomes a benevolent giver. In a moment, a covetous miser. One moment it acts like a king, the next like a miserable wretch. But if the mind submits to the master, it will without doubt receive master's grace. Mind clings to the soul like a parasitic vine. With each birth, the soul adopts a body, and at death it leaves it. But the mind, unaffected by death, remains clinging to the soul. Wow. So even after we die, the mind is after us. It does not leave us. But the mind, unaffected by death, remains clinging to the soul. Mind never died, nor did Maya, but the body died, and died a million times. Alas, mind's cravings and expectations did not, O Kabir, because of its desires and cravings for the world and its objects, the mind comes into the world again and again, again and again, and the soul tied to the mind has to keep incarnating with others and to know and experience the vicissitudes of its physical surroundings. But the soul, submitting to mind's desires and cravings for pleasure, has become its slave. To take an example from Kabir, a farmer bought a sheep to meet his requirement for wool, but he neglected to keep an eye on it, and the sheep quality quietly, and the sheep quietly ate up all the cotton fruit and ruined his crop. For eons, the soul has had no control over the mind and has been allowing it to ruin the soul's wealth, its original brilliance. Mind's appetite for pleasure is boundless. In the words of Tulsi Sahib, mind hunger is voracious, like that of a demon. Saints have described mind as uncontrollable, like a mad elephant, restive, like an untrained horse, restless, like a wild deer, fickle, like the waves, and always changing, like the colors of a chameleon. Mind's habits of running after pleasures brings misery and unhappiness. It will put you in jail for just a moment of pleasure. That's how the mind is. Ignoring the real purpose of human birth, namely God realization. Mind wastes this precious opportunity in vain pursuits. Kabir says, time is draining away like water held in the palms of your hand. But mind takes no heed. Like a moth, it flies into the flame of passions, and in the end is burned. O mind, why do you rejoice at the sight of pleasures? Don't you see the fire that will consume you? You are hugging the serpent of sense pleasures and squandering the wealth of human birth. Says Kabir, mind is vile and capricious. One learns this through the knowledge given by the Master. Mind without devotion will keep burning wherever it goes. Whoa. My master, my beloved father, Sant Thakar Singh, used to say a story about a wise bird who told his fellow birds that be very careful. A hunter will come, he will spread some seeds, then you will go and eat the seeds, and then he will catch you with his net. And in order to make them remember, to make them like imbibe this lesson, he told them to to keep repeating those words. The hunter will come, he will put some seeds, we will see the seeds, we will go eat the seeds, and then he will throw the net over us, and he will catch us. So they kept on repeating this so they don't forget. But then it just became a habit of repeating it. And then while they were singing this, the hunter came, he put the seeds, they saw the seeds, they went and ate the seeds, and he all caught them up. This is sometimes our situation, that the saints and masters tell us that, hey, you are hugging a serpent if you're going to go after these pleasures. You are like a moth, you will be burnt up. Don't you see that serpent behind? And we hear it, but then again, we jump into the fire. This is how the mind is. It's like, it's just crazy. The object of spiritual practice, as taught by the saints, is to vacate the body, arrive at the third eye center, and journey into the higher spiritual realms. The master initiates the seeker into the practice of Nam or Shab, through which the devotee can bring his soul and mind to the eye center. But mind is fond of running about in external worlds. It refuses to become still and come back to the eye center. Referring to mind's habit of constantly wandering outside, Guru Ram Das says, from moment to moment, the mind wanders in the manifold delusions of the world. It does not settle in its home, the third eye center. Kabir refers to the problem of mind restlessness, identifying himself with the struggling devotee. The struggling devotee. My mind does not stay still within my own house. It has ruined my homes by its wayward habits. The devotee has to fight resolutely with his mind, vanquish it, and make it still. If he succeeds in doing so, the battle is won. and all obstacles to the inner progress are removed. Kabir says, what use keeping long matted hair? What use applying ash over the body? What use living in caves? If you conquer the mind, you will conquer the world and will become indifferent to the sense pleasures. Guru Amar Das also says, if mind dies, all wandering will cease. Without subduing the mind, how can one attain the Lord? One, only a rare one knows the portion that benubs the mind. Through Shabd, mind dies. This is a true this a true devotee knows. Swamiji says that only they are true warriors who have killed their mind. Soul is originally pure and divine, and its natural tendency is inward and upward. Oh, I love that. Soul, originally pure and divine, and its natural tendency is inward and upward. Wow. But it is enveloped by mind, which has become impure in the company of the senses, and through its deep rooted attachment to the gross world of matter, the soul, tied to the mind, has to withdraw to the eye center in the company of the mind. The mind then has to be made pure. The dross of desires and passion that had accumulated over it has to be removed before it becomes to fit to reach the eye center. Kabir says that as long as mind is smeared with the filth of passions and cravings, one cannot become free from the bondage of the world. When mind becomes pure, the soul will merge into the pure one. Guru Nanak says, by killing the mind, you will please the Lord. The practice of Shabd will be fruitful, and mind will recognize the Lord of the three worlds. Mind will give its weaving and wavering, and you will realize your beloved Lord. Mind will die or become still through the practice of Nam or Shabd under the guidance of the perfect master. Listening to the Shabd, mind will gradually become pure and will become an ally of the soul on its path of devotion. Here he says, listening to the Shabd, mind will gradually become pure. But sometimes the mind becomes pure for a certain time, and then by being just in this negative world and by us not being careful, it gets polluted again. So the process, taking the daily shower of meditation to clean it, is very necessary. Mind will die or become still through the practice of Nam or Shabd, under the guidance of a perfect master. Listening to the Shabd, mind will gradually become pure and will become an ally of the soul on its path of devotion. Kabir expresses this in some of his poems. Unless put under the shackles of true name, mind will run about wherever it pleases. Born and mighty like a mountain, but the moment the crowbar of Shabd strikes it, it yields a mine of pure gold. Explore the Shabd, O Kabir, and through it control your mind. Wow. Explore the Shabd, O Kabir, and through it control your mind. This is the easy way to union. By listening to the divine melody, mind will be absorbed within. It will merge into Gagan and will then cease to come and go. In the region of sun, it will gain its original state. Dadu expresses the same idea when he says that men adopt a million ways to control the mind. Then they try and try but fail, and mind continues to run in all directions. It can only be chained by the Lord's name. Wow. There is no other way. The fickle and restlessness, one runs in all four directions. Chain it with the Guru's word. See, that's what I said. It's in our free will to chain it with the Guru's word. Guru Nanak also declares in no uncertain term that mind can only be controlled by the practice of Shabd imparted by the Master. Without Master's word, mind cannot become still. The mind bewitched by Maya is released by the practice of Shabd. Swamiji says that mind comes under control when it listens to the melody of the Shabd. Adopt a million ways, but the mind will pay no heed. When it listens to the melody of the Shabd, it will become under control. Except through Shabd, this slumbering mind will not arise, though countless devices one may try. Guru Ram Das says that mind will be rid of its lust for roving outside by coming in contact with the saints, by meeting the saints. My mind has come to life. Mind is vagrant, roving endlessly in all directions. Through the saints, it has been captured and made still, just as a fisherman casts his net and captures the fish. I love this satsang. Saints know that craving for pleasure is mind's innate nature, and all its behavior is motivated by its habit of pleasure seeking. Its lust for such pleasures will not be satisfied by allowing it to fulfill its desires, for mind's craving have no end. Even when the body is unable to indulge in the senses, mind's craving for them continues unabated. Even if you're old and on a stick, you will still have those desires if the mind is not controlled. It may change phases by moving from one form to fulfillment to another, but will not give up its desires. To satisfy the craving of mind is to add fuel to the fire. That is the truth. The more one gives to the mind, the more it wants. I'm sure all of you have knows this from experience. Kabir says that the sapling of mind cravings will not dry up by watering it, it will grow all the more. Wow. Nor can the devotee bridle his mind by forced abstinence from worldly pleasures. It cannot be coerced into submission by renunciation, austerities, fasts, penances, and self denial. Chanting, singing hymns, and indulging in religious ceremonies might keep it temporarily engrossed, but cannot change its restive nature. So great is mind's power of resilience that no amount of self mortification can crush it. Mind never sticks to one form of pleasure. It delights in a variety and gives up one pleasure the moment it tastes something better. The saints say that if mind once experienced the inner spiritual pleasures, the joy of the inner regions, and the bliss of the sound and the light, it will give up the outer pleasures. Kabir says that the mind, which once relished the filthy pleasures of the world, on going within and enjoying the inner bliss, begins to abhor them. Formerly, it will like it formerly. It was like a crow pecking at dross. Now it becomes a pure swan and savors only divine pearls. Dadu says the same thing differently. When the mind is absorbed in the Lord's devotion, where else can it go? Dadu, as salt dissolves in water, so stays the mind lost in the inner bliss. Wow, I love that. Guru Nanak says that when the Lord's name has pierced the mind, when what else can it dwell upon? Mind is pierced by the name of God. The Guru has bestowed the gift. When the devotee's attained is when the devotee's attention is turned within, the world's pleasures become tasteless for him. He then gives up his liking for senses, pleasures, and enjoys the bliss of inner worlds. Kabir says he gives up these pleasures and experiences that joy. When he partakes of that ambrosia within, he loses all taste for these worldly pleasures. Amen. Amen. May Father God, may Master make us enjoy the inner world so we will forget about the outer pleasures. However, we have karma, and karma is paid off through those five evils. So it is sometimes we experience going down due to karma. So it's like both things. It's karma and also inner bliss. But at some point, Ishwarji says that when we rise above the mind, then whatever we are doing here, karma has to still go on. But we will lose all those five enemies and it will become like a show. It will become like a show, and we're looking at it from above that these things are happening for payments of karma. But we are not the actor, we are watching the act because we are the soul living in the body. Oh, by the way, yesterday while I was driving, I was looking at my GPS and I angered somebody. All what I heard, somebody angry looking at me and calling me SHIT head. And then I just watched myself how I reacted, and I was proud of myself. You know, when somebody angry calls you that, you might react back. But I kept quiet. I kept quiet, and I remembered Master that it's all a show. It's all a show. And I just kept. And then he came like towards my car running. As if he wants to beat the car. And all what I did, I just pressed on the gas. And I'm like, oh, wow. Probably a few years before, I would have stopped my car, my car and fought with him. But anyway, thank you, Master. That maybe yeah, there is a change after years, and there has to be change. Otherwise, this path is not true. We have to change. So anyway, thank you, Master, for the seva, and I welcome my brother Prempal. I'm gonna play his talk. After his talk, Vinaya is gonna read the translation of the shabd he wants us to play after the talk, but it's not translated, so Vinaya will read it. So I will read the shabd, and may Master keep his foot on our head, on our mind all the time. That's what I always pray. Master, please keep your foot on my mind. Okay, let me play Prempal.
Hello, Swami, everyone. My today's topic is mind, man. It is a very big topic, and there is different kind of views on that topic by many psychologists and many doctors and many philosophers. But I'm talking about is not from philosophy or medical point of view, but I'm talking about today is what I learned from Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, or better, whatever I read in the Vedas and Puranas, or the other religious books written by many ancient saints of India, and Swamiji Maharaj, and many other saints who had their views about the mind. It is a very big topic, and that topic has been discussed by many psychologists and many doctors and all those. What is mind? Before even I start pick up says anything about mind, as Dr. Chand Ji already made it clear that in the beginning there was God, He was one. Then He decided to become from one to many. That was His Moj. That was His Moj. Then Moj started from Anami Des, then Agam and Alak, then Sachkhand. Then all the souls were in Sachkhand. After that, the other creation was started. How we pick up the mind, and how we pick up the sensory body, and how we pick up the physical body. The soul goes through four segments or four sections or four steps. When we left the Sachkhand, at that time soul was Atma. The next one is Jiva Atma. The third one is Bij Atma. The fourth one is Muktatma. These are the stages of soul. When you left the Sachkhand, at that time soul was soul. Jiva Atma means when we take birth, when the soul came in a physical body, it became Jiva Atma. The next one is Bij Atma. Bij means seed. Seed. If you sow a seed, then you will harvest the crop, then you will keep some seeds for the next season. That's how it happens. When we came here in a physical body, we start creating karmas, and those karmas are seed, those karmas are pulling us back again and again and again in this universe. And the fourth step is Muktatma. Mukt means salvation. After going through all the cycles of death and birth, when we get initiation, the same souls become Muktatma. We get liberation. We go back home. Nirvana, that is Muktatma. Now, when the creation was created, when all the souls were in Sachkhand, after that Sohang Desh and Par Brahm and Brahm and all those areas were created, the creation was created. When soul came down to Sohang Desh and Par Brahm area, soul was still Atma or soul. When soul came down to Brahm or universal mind area, we pick up the mind from there. When soul came down to the astral area, we pick up the sensory body from there. When we came to this physical plane, we pick up the physical body. So these are the three coverings upon the soul. We call it Sthul, Sukshma and Karan. Physical, astral and causal. The biggest cover, the first cover that soul pick up is the mind. As we all know, soul is a unit of totality of consciousness. Mind is also a unit of universal mind. Mind operates from universal mind, as soul operates from totality of consciousness. Whatever is in the totality of consciousness is in the one unit, that is soul. Whatever is in the universal mind is also in the mind, but if you can research or search the mind. Self-realization is God realization. If we know our soul, then we will know, if we know our consciousness, then we will know what is the totality of consciousness. If we know our mind thoroughly, completely, then we will know what is universal mind. Like we can know the totality of consciousness, same time, when our mind wake up fully, then we will understand what is Brahm or what is universal mind. Mind is a thinking machine. As Ishwar Puri Maharaj always says, mind is a thinking machine. Mind was given to us as a tool to use. But what happened? As I told the story that Hujur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh used to tell in a satsang that there was a king, he has a big palace, he has a daughter, and she was princess. There was a servant outside that palace, he was doing cleanup, and that princess fell in love with that servant, and she took off with the servant. Now she is stuck with that servant. Same thing here. Soul was a princess when we were in a kingdom of God or in such kind. But we got trapped in mind. Also, Hujur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh used to say, there was a king, he has too many servants, and they used to serve him. The king started depending on them too much. Instead of staying the servants, they decided to take over the king. He became the slave of the servants. Same thing here. Soul became the slave of the mind, while mind was given to us as a servant. That's what exactly happened. Now we need to know what is mind. What are the functions of the mind? What are the different states or different levels of mind. Mind is a thinking mean. Think means thought process. Whenever we do anything, the idea comes to our mind. That is thought process. Everything starts from the mind. Idea comes to our mind. If any idea comes to our mind, if we bring that idea in a practical form and perform that thought as an action on physical level, that thought becomes our action, karma, and we do it with our physical body. That's how the karmas are created. Mind play important role in creating karmas, because thought process starts from the mind. We can use the mind either way. Mind can create good thoughts, mind can create bad thoughts. Good thought will lead us to the good karmas. Bad thought will lead us to bad karmas. Either way, none of the karmas can take us back to where we came from, because karma is not a way to go back home. Karma will keep us here in time and space. Mind operates only in time and space. Only in time and space, and mind will keep us in time and space. All the karmas that we create, doesn't matter good karma or bad karma, those karma will pull us back in this physical universe. As Krishna Ji Maharaj says, ये दुनिया कर्म भूमि है और जन्म भूमि है. This physical universe, this planet where we are living, is a planet of karmas, death and birth. We come here, we create karmas. When we die, we come back again to pay off the same karmas. That is known as Bij Atma, creating karmas, coming back and back and back. Every time we die, our physical body dies, but our mind and soul, they don't die. They go to the next body according to our karmas, according to our wishes, and according to our desires. If someone asks you what is your age, you can tell them I'm 50-year-old or 60-year-old or 70 or 20. That is the age of your physical mind, physical body. If someone asks you what is the age of your mind, you will not be able to tell. You might guess. If someone asks you what is the age of your soul, there is no answer, because soul is unborn or soul is immortal. Soul is beyond time and space. So soul has no death and birth. So soul is immortal. No one can say soul is that billion year old. Someone might guess about the mind. That guesses has been taken from the creation of this physical planet where we are living. How many billion year old is this planet? So mind's first function is mind. Mind means thinking. The thought process plays an important role in our life. As we stand right next to the ocean, you will see those tides coming up and down, up and down. When those tides hit the shore, that tide will eliminate, but the next tide will come, and next and next and next. Same thing here. The thought will keep coming and coming and coming in our mind. One thought will replace the other, and the other will replace the other. Thought process don't stop at all. Like our breathing don't stop at all. As long as we are breathing, our physical body is alive. As long as thought process is going on in our mind is alive. If a physical body dies, it becomes rock, khak. When our mind dies, it becomes nur. When mind dies, that means the thought process has been stopped. At that point, mind will go to a shunyata, then you will listen to the sound of current animals, you will see light and all those things. That's something else. The next function of the mind is Buddh. Buddh means intelligence. That Buddh part of the mind, it will help you to understand the thought process. Mind is a thinking machine. Now the machine is running. Either the machine is running slow or faster, or it's running backward or upward, you will know it. The Buddha part of the mind, it will help you to make the decision about your thought process that is going on in your mind. Either it's a good thought or either it's a bad thought. Do you want to do it or you don't want to do it? That has to be decided by the Buddha part of your mind. That means the decision making policy comes from the Buddha part of your mind, also known as Buddha. Buddha. Consciousness and awareness, both combinations, that will help you to decide. Decision making policy comes from the Buddha part of your mind. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, मन अपने ते बुरा मिटाना पेखे सगल श्रेष्ठ साजना. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says in Sukhmani Sahib, the Bani of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, मन अपने ते बुरा मिटाना means the bad thought. पेखे सगल श्रेष्ठ साजना. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, if any bad thought comes to your mind, choose the Buddha part of your mind and eliminate that thought. Pekhe sagal shreshth sajana. Whoever created the whole thing, Vaheguru Paramatma, is sitting inside you in the form of soul. Whatever we do, even if no one is watching us, still God knows, still mind knows what is going on, good or bad. So that's the second function of the mind is Buddha. That's the decision making policy. It helps us almost in every part or every section of our life, whatever we do in our religious life, in our financial life, in our social life, or in our political life, and all those things. Decision making, the Buddha part of your mind will help you in a big way. Big way. So Buddha is the important part. If any bad thoughts are coming, eliminate that. The Buddha part of your mind will help you to eliminate. And if you want to do something good, that decision will also be made with the Buddha part of your mind. The best thing is eliminate your bad thoughts. If you use your Buddha part of your mind to eliminate the bad thoughts or negative thoughts, and negativity will be gone from your mind. That's how you could control negativity. And if you use the Buddha part, the decision-making policy of your mind, and create good thoughts in your mind, and including doing good karmas, including doing seva, including doing meditation, all these things, the same mind will help you towards positivity. And that positivity and negativity, the decision is made by the Buddha part of your mind. So use that part wisely. Wisely. Always try to eliminate the negative thinking from your mind. Because negative thinking mostly creates bad thoughts in your mind, and you start creating bad karmas that we have to come back again. But again, if you use the Buddha part of your mind for positivity, it will help you in doing a meditation and doing seva and everything. The same mind who is also known as enemy will also becomes your best friend. Like Chand Bhardwaj ji says, Pindi man, Andi man, Brahmandi man. The mind change its status. If you use the Buddha part or decision making policy of your mind, that will help you. That will help you. For an example, if you have $20 in your pocket, you can go to store, get some vegetables and fruits. Or you can go to store and get red wine and get drunk and go bed. It is up to you. At that time, the Buddha part of your mind plays an important role, but it's up to you how to use that. Because you have a power. Decision-making policy is given to you. Given to you. So use it wisely. If you know how to use the Buddha part of your mind will keep creating thoughts in our mind. That's thought process. In thought process, there is all kind of thoughts, good and bad. And same mind that creates thought, you can use that mind either to create all kind of thoughts, or you can use that same mind to do the Simran, Because Simran is done at the level of the mind. Once you start doing Simran with your tongue, you can keep doing and doing. Eventually, your mind will pick up that mantra or Simran. Then your mind will start repeating the Simran or mantra. So mind is a very big, beautiful tool that you can use towards spirituality. Going back home, it's a very best tool given to us to help us. Help us. We can use it the way we want. As Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh ji used to say, if you have a knife, you can cut fruit with the knife, or you can cut the vegetables, or you can stab someone. It is up to you. Then how do you make that decision? The both part of your mind will help you. Your mind is your best friend. As Chand Kaur last time said, your best friend and your best enemy. If you use your Buddha part of the mind, the decision maker policy of the mind will help you. All your mind becomes your friend. Your mind is your best friend. And that friend will help you to go back home. O mere man pardesiya aapne ghare वापस आ. If we understand, if we tell our mind you belong to a universal mind, you are a divine. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to universal mind. You enjoy the blissful state there. And once your mind understands, we have to educate the mind. We have to educate the mind. Of course, the education can be given to mind. To mind. Only with the Buddha part of your mind. If your mind start understanding that my home is not this physical universe where I am, and mind starts to start thinking like we always think, let's go back to Sachkhand, let's go back to Sachkhand. Our soul will go back to Sachkhand, but mind doesn't. If a mind say, I don't want to go to universal mind, how come your soul can go back to Sachkhand? How can? No way. You have to take care of the mind first. Your mind has to help you. If mind agrees to go to the Brahm or universal mind and enjoy the blissful state there, at the astral area and the causal area, automatically, then your soul can go to Sachkhand. Otherwise, mind is a bridge between the physical and astral area and also in the spiritual area. The first 12 chakras that I mentioned, they are in the realms of mind. The other 6 chakras, they are below Sachkhand. They are above mind, but mind is between. Mind is between. It's just like a staircase. You can use the stairs to go up, or you can use the stair to come down. You can use that mind to go up to the upper area, or you can use the mind to go outside in this physical through attention. Through attention. So mind is a very, very important thing. Very important thing. The third part of the mind is the chit. Chit means the memory. We been here how many years, how many yugas? We don't know it. When our physical body dies, our mind and soul don't. All the karmas that we create, all the data and information is got recorded on the mind. And mind will carry that information, and mind and soul will go to the next physical body. Depends on our karmas and also our desires and wishes. At the time of the death, our desires, our attention, our last thought that is going on in our mind play a very important role in reincarnation. If you are doing a Simran of a Satguru and you continue doing it, that means your thought is processing your mind is about your Satguru, then your Satguru will come and pick you up. No doubt at all. Of course, he can come anyway, but still, educate the mind. If your mind starts thinking about something else, the reality is, at the time of the death, if any desires comes to your mind, it is up to your Satguru to give you a next birth, or it is up to your master to take you to the sub-astral area or the causal area to fulfill your desire there. It is up to the master. It's up to the master. How you want to decide that? The chit part is the memory chip of the mind. That has the data. Since we've been here how many yugas? We don't know it. And how many karmas we had created? We don't know it. As we already know, there is a Kereman karma, there is a Sanchit karma, and there is a reserve karma, and all those things called Paralabdha karma. The Kereman karma that we are creating, we know it. Past life karma, we are paying it. Even if we are paying the past life karma or Paralabdha karma, still we don't know what we did in that life. Still we don't know, but we are paying for it. The Sanchit karma, reserve karma, is the main ledger of karma that stays in the Brahm, the last part of the Brahm known as Gurupad, the exit door that goes to Par Brahm, stays there. When you reach the universal mind, then you will be able to see all those karmas sitting there in the reserve. But if you get initiation from a particular master, those karmas will be eliminated. It will be easy for you to go beyond Par Brahm, beyond Par Brahm. The chit part of the mind has memories of sense humanity. Then fourth part of the mind is ahang. Ahang means the egoism. That function of the mind is a very big function. Egoism means hankar. Homme. Homme ehi bandana. Fir juni pai. The egoism part of your mind will pull you back again in this creation. In this creation. What you are proud of. That egoism will pull you back. Your desire and your wishes will also pull you back in this creation. As Bhai Gurdas ji says, जुग जुग मेल शरीर का वासना बद्धा आए जाए फिर फेर बटाइए ज्ञानी होए मरम को पाए. Bhai Gurdas ji says, जुग जुग मेल शरीर का. We had been getting the physical body and different life form from many yugas. Vasana means all our attachment that pulling us back to this physical universe. The attachment is also a function of the mind. Mind get attached with something. It may get attached with the physical thing. It may get attached with the money or house or whatever. That attachment pull us back again. Jug jug mel sharir ka vasana, desires, wishes, aaye jaye, who come and go and come and go. Our desire, our wishes, our karmas are pulling us back. Fir bataiye. We come back in a different life form. Sometimes humans, sometimes some other juniors or other forms. Gyani hoye maram ko. Gyani means if you get the knowledge, we can get the medicine. What is the medicine? What is the cure? Naam, Shabd. Naam amolak ratan hai pure Satgur paas. A perfect company of a perfect living master. If you get initiation from a perfect living master, that medicine will take you out of this cycle of death and birth. That naam is just like an antibiotic that will kill everything, all the bacteria. All the bacteria. So naam. Now getting, that is the man. That is the mind. It's a very big topic. It's a very big topic. Mind is a tool that we can use in a positive way. So there are four functions of the mind. Man, Buddha, Chitta, Ahan. Man means the thought process. Buddha means the decision-making policy. Chit means the memory. And Ahang means the egoism. Ahang means the egoism part of our mind. Of our mind. This is a big topic. Now there is a different states of the mind. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind. That is again another big topic. I love to discuss it in my next segment. And right now I like to stop because I really don't want to stretch it. It's too big. But please accept my seva and forgive all my mistake and ask your mind to do Simran, Simran, Simran. Thank you, Radha Song.
Thank you, Prempalji. Now I'll read the translation. So the title is The Creatures Ask the Creator, by what way shall I find you? The Lord replied, Find your mind, and you will find me. Your mind is known as the mirror, deeds, good and bad. It watches and shows all. Your mind is known as the mirror. Mind is celestial. Mind is God. None there is higher than the mind. Whenever, wherever the mind's light spreads, the world is lit. Oh, this mind, mirror, O creature, let no dirt ever set. Flowers of pleasure, thorns of sorrow. Mind is the basis of all. Nothing at all can hide from the mind. The mind has 1,000 eyes. Maybe someone can run away from the world, but none can run away from the mind. The wealth of the body is but a fleeting shadow, whereas priceless is the wealth of the mind. Because of the body, do not rub and ruin the wealth of your mind in green. Those who are in forgetfulness of the value of the mind live a life of waste. Your mind is known as the mirror. Thank you so much. We'll listen to his Shabad now.
That's pretty good number. Arteries can be heard. So many sounds are being generated within the system, within our own body. So therefore, when we close our eyes and meditate, to listen to any sound is not the true sound. It is not the yoga of Surdhyam. It's not the yoga of attention on sound. The yoga of attention on sound means you go to a place where you can hear the sound of the self. The sound of the self, the sound of consciousness itself lies in the center. Because people come to me and say, we have been told that there is a right ear sound, there is a left ear sound, this is positive sound, this is negative sound, the brain is like that, right wing, left wing, this is intuitive brain, this is rational brain, this must be the good one and the bad one. I said, they may be good or bad, but they are not the sound that you hear from the self. The sound that you hear from the self is right in the center where you feel you are, where you belong, even at this stage. Eventually, you will find that where you are has never changed, that location has never changed. The entire experience of different worlds, entire experience of moving around everywhere, it's the experience going around you, and you are always still in one place, and that is here and now. All other things are added on to it. But this you only realize when you discover your true self. Till then, the mental worlds that we create, the three worlds of the mind, the physical, the astral, and the causal, these worlds create so much experience outside, experience of travel. It's like when we drive a car, we think the trees are moving around us. But the trees are not moving, we are moving. But if we remain still and the trees start moving, we still think the trees are moving, or we'll think our car is moving. So it depends that the stillness of the self is already there. The stillness of the self. That the self never moves, the self never changes. It's always the same. All experiences around it alter and change. And this can be found out by your listening to the true sound of the self. We, of course, can hear other sounds, which is good for practice. It's good to hear any sound inside, just to be able to withdraw your attention inside. But does not mean that that is the sound of the self. Even other sounds can help, provided they are inside. Supposing you start listening to the sound of your breathing, and your breath work is such that you are constantly listening. in some types of meditation, like pranayam, they do meditation on the breath itself, calling the breath prana. Prana literally means life force. Prana does not mean breath, it means life force. Because people lived because they could breathe and have a heartbeat, therefore prana was also used for breathing. But when pranayam was used, the word pranayam in yoga, it was not supposed to be breathing exercise at all. It was supposed to be concentrating on the life force, which is consciousness. It was supposed to be concentrating your attention on the self. But people who have been doing pranayam thinking it's just a breathing exercise to put your attention on the breath in order to get attention within, they get used to it so much that they take a long time to get back, to go back to find out that the true prana, the true life force, the true consciousness is somewhere else. And breathing was merely a physical thing happening on the physical body on which they were paying all the attention. It takes longer for them to pull up attention. I have so many friends of mine who have done different kind of yogas. In fact, all the people who have done different yogas, I hear from them, me included, that we were thinking that putting any attention anywhere was good enough. We make a little picture outside, put attention on the picture. The picture becomes our focus. We don't go within at all. We're constantly outside on the picture. Even by closing our eyes, we are still on the picture. So the picture does not help. We make a little pattern on the wall. People I did that kind of meditation, draw a little circle and a little spot in the middle, concentrate on that. It improved my concentration. It's all outside. It never led me to any discovery of who I am, who I truly, where my soul is, where the truth is. The truth lies inside. And that is the point where we withdraw our attention. So there are these two misgivings amongst people, which I'm clarifying. That the sound, the yoga of attention on sound, the surti of yoga, does not require you to do anything else except to withdraw your attention to your own self from where the ultimate sound, vibration, whatever you call it, is coming from. It's a continuation of the process of devolution of consciousness through various levels of experiences, right up to the physical. It starts from there, continuously comes there, never breaks. Everything else breaks. When we go to sleep, there's a break in the experience. The wakeful experience goes. We lie in bed, close our eyes, and a dream experience starts. Sometimes we forget the dream experience, but always we have dream experiences. Most of them we forget. But the dream experience shuts off the experience of the wakeful stage, but does not shut off the presence of the same self in the dream that was the self in the wakeful state, with no break at all. There's never any break in the self, no matter what state of consciousness we are in. So when you come to realize that, then you find that the sound we are talking of is our own self. The sound we are talking of is a manifestation of our own consciousness. It is the same thing which is coming down all the way without break. Other things break, this one does not break. So if you could ride on the sound that you can catch as a sound, as an audible sound in the physical body, you will be able to ride all the way back home. That's why I consider this yoga to be the very best for self-discovery and for going to our true home. That you catch the sound, which is an expression of your own self, your own consciousness, and hold on to it. It may sound like other sounds. To start with, it does sound like other sounds. The sound that is the first starting sound can be sound like bells. Big bell, or the bells tolled on the churches, the bells that we use in temples, the bells that we use elsewhere. It's sound resembling that. That is why we are using them. We didn't just think of a bell in a temple or a church out of nothing. We thought of it because we could hear it inside. And that is a key to discovering ourselves. We thought church, temple, mosque, these are house of worship, house of discovering God. And therefore we put the same things there. We put bells there to ring there for the same purpose for which we could go in and hear the bell ringing inside. The bell sound is the initial sound that has a pull in it and pulls you to yourself, pulls you to the real self which you are discovering, which is going to have the experience of a journey to higher levels of consciousness. So therefore, the other sounds, I call them practice sounds. You can hear sound like a train moving, you can hear sounds which is just a whistling sound, you can hear sounds which are like a drum beat sounds, you can hear sounds which are like a truck passing over a bridge or a waterfall. Similar sounds. There are 5 or 10 sounds like these, which one can easily hear in just trying to put your attention behind the eyes. When these sounds come, they can come from either side. They come from the left side, right side, and just because the intuitive side is on the right side, they recommend, the mystics have recommended, start off with the right side. It does not mean that that is the sound that is going to take you anywhere. A friend of mine told me he has been listening to the sound on the right ear for 15 years, nothing happened. I said, nothing happened because you stuck to the right ear. You never went to the right spot. If you stick to the right ear, how will you go in? If you stick to the left ear, how will you go in? When you hear the inner sound, you do not remember your ears. You don't remember which is your left ear, which is your right ear. You forget both the ears. You forget your body. So we can't be taken in by ritualistic things like this, that use the right ear, use the left ear. The real sound comes from within. But while that is happening, there are sounds which are being created close to the eyes, close to, because of the blood flow around us, close to this. They are physiological sounds, but they can be heard. They are not sounds being created outside and being heard from outside of the eardrum. They're internal sounds being heard by the audio system inside. So that is why we use them for practice only. If you can't hear any other sound, bell sound or something that pulls you, you hear any sound to practice being within. Why is it necessary to practice being within? Because we are now changing the very direction of flow of our attention. All our life, we have been using our attention to flow out from the self, out through the body, onto other things outside. We have never used a technique to withdraw this back. Withdrawal of attention is different, totally different from focusing attention on something. The tendency to focus attention on things is so strong in us that even when we try to withdraw attention, we are still trying to focus on something in front of us. That is because we are so used to focusing attention on things. Withdrawal of attention means that pulling your attention to where you are, thinking of nothing but where you are, who you are. Now, to make it simpler, to make this meditation exercise simpler, these perfect living masters have found an easy device. He said, instead of trying to focus your attention anywhere, just imagine you are there, which you already are. But if you imagine that this body of yours is not you, this body of yours has an upper part called the upper part of the head, that you have eyes behind which there is space. Just imagine that you are sitting there in the center. Not see yourself sitting there, imagine you are there. Imagine you are there. Forget how big you are, how small you are. Just imagine this is a body in which you are sitting behind the eyes. And if you can sit there and can hear a sound, try to catch the sound. If you hear sounds coming from the sides, hear them just to learn how to hear the sound while being present in the head. Eventually, those sounds will mean nothing, and the real sound will come from within yourself. It will be like a resonance, like surround sound, which they say it will be surrounding you, like it's all emanating on all 4 sides of you, and it can resemble, to start with, something like bells. Then the bells become louder and with bigger peals. A bell can be tin, 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 small bell, or it can be tung, tung, or it can be hong, and the peal goes on growing. As you approach that bell, and as you listen to it attentively, the peal increases. Ultimately, it becomes one peal. And then it changes. It doesn't look like a bell because we are used to a bell which has gong, gong on it, a sine curve on it. And this becomes without a sine curve. It stretches then. That's the time when it will lift you up into the next higher plane of consciousness. and your body will have withdrawn attention. Your attention will no longer be in the body, it will have completely gone up, and you will feel, first you might feel you are died, or you might feel that you don't have a body. But a new body will appear, the one which is you're working with which you're aware. Your sense perceptions will become so clear. Your eyesight will improve. No glasses needed. Everybody better than 2020. Even blind people can read there. And you can read the finest print that you like with that. It's all part of your own apparatus inside provided to you in the next body. Physical body is hiding all that. So when you're able to pull your attention there, with nothing else but to hear the sound. But to hear the sound and to hold on to this position where you feel you are inside, you use this repetition of words. Repetition of words, Simran, mantra, is to hold your attention behind the eyes so that you can hear the sound. Once the sound can be heard, you can give up this repetition altogether. The repetition is not needed where the sound can start pulling you up and you can identify that this sound is coming from within. You're moving closer and closer to yourself, and other experiences start opening up in front of you. When other experiences come, don't follow them, because the moment you follow them, you go back to that state. And they are only coming because you are holding on to the center. This is a common mistake we make, that once something extraordinary happens, we go after it, we go follow it, and then we drop back to the earlier situation. So if you can hold on to the center with the sound, you get all the successive experiences one after the other. Let's try. Let's try. Now, you have to try first the repetition, like we did yesterday. The repetition. As soon as you can hear some sounds inside, drop the repetition and catch on to the sound. Those who are initiated will use their mantra given by the masters. Those who are not initiated can use a temporary mantra created by themselves, expressing love for somebody. Close your eyes. Imagine this body of yours is your house in which you live. It has several floors. The lowest floor is right where you're sitting down at the bottom. Then as the floors rise, you are on the 6th floor behind the eyes. And that's the place where you will always meditate. That is your meditation chamber. So go and imagine you are sitting in the middle of this meditation chamber. And you can examine that the house, this body-like house around you on the 6th floor, that you are sitting on top of your throat, you're sitting on top of your body, and the ears are around you, and the eyes are in front of you, your hair is on top of you, and you are sitting relaxed, totally relaxed, no tension. The body has nothing to do with it. There is no pressure on the body or the head or the eyes. You are using your imagination to sit behind the eyes in the center of the head. And whatever comes in front, look at it, but don't follow it. If any sounds come, listen to the sounds attentively, but don't move towards them. If a sound comes from the top, listen while you are sitting relaxed in the center. Sound comes from the right, listen from the center. Sound comes from the left, stay in the center and listen to it. If two sounds come, pick up the one coming from the right or above and drop the other. And if a sound seems to be around you, pick up that and listen to it attentively. Put all your attention on the sound when the sound comes. Meanwhile, keep on repeating the words. If the sound disappears, go back to repetition. And when the sound comes, drop the repetition, listen to the sound.